The NFL draft is always the best time of football because we get to see young stars fulfilling their NFL dreams. Our favorite teams drafting guys that we like. Some players are a reach. Some guys are hitting gems and they get selected or undrafted and they have really good careers. And today, I just want to highlight two prospects from the 2026 draft who could be really good or they can't translate their game to the NFL level. One guy being David Bailey from Texas Tech, the edge rusher. He had 14 and a half sacks this past season. Dude was dominant all year, and he became one of my favorite players in college football ever since I watched him versus Utah. The other guy, on the other hand, is 6'6" edge rusher from Auburn, Keldric Faulk. Although he didn't have 14 and a half sacks, he has a lot of tools that can help his game in the NFL with the right coaching. But is he really worth a top 15 pick? There's been reports saying he's a top 15, at worst top 20, and I don't really see that. But I'm getting ahead of myself way too fast. I kind of want to evaluate both of these players and see, are they worth the hype, where they can go in the NFL draft, and give you guys my thoughts and perspectives. Now, first things first, if you like the video, make sure you like it. I want you guys to comment down your thoughts, if I'm right, if I'm wrong, some other players you want me to evaluate and look at. And make sure you guys subscribe. We're on our way to 500 subs before the NFL season starts in September. But with all that being said, let's get straight into the video. Now, the first player that we're going to talk about is David Bailey, the edge rusher from Texas Tech. Now, he originally committed to Stanford in the class of 2022. He was a 4-star coming out of California, and he did some really good numbers in his 3 years in Stanford. But then this past season, after he transferred over to Texas Tech, dude put up again 14 and a half sacks. And as we are now viewing his film, there is one thing that sticks out to this dude off the jump. He has a grand total of 0 accessories on him, okay? I found this very comical, okay? Now, this is diabolical. This is hilarious, man, because the fact that you have absolutely no equipment but a t-shirt on outside of your shoulder pads and your cleats, like even his pants are above his knees, no knee pads, no thigh pads. I just found that very hilarious, man. It's like he just created a Madden player, selected number 31, had the default helmet, and just put save, and we're good to go. But now, all jokes aside, though, man, that's pretty funny to me. But when you look at David Bailey, he has a really good first step. Okay, now I'm a big fan of speed rushers off the edge. I love James Pierce Jr. I love Abdul Carter when they were in college last year. And when I saw David Bailey's film, I knew I was going to love this dude based off the fact of his first step. And when we watch this game, when they call height, ready, set, height, like he wins a lot of his pass rushes just outrunning, just beating the tackle to the edge. And that right there is setting up for future moves, like better moves off that first step. Because later on in games, when they are intimidated by that first step, getting outran from the edge, he can easily do a rip through move. He can easily jump back to the inside, as you can see in some clips. Or one thing that is very underrated about this dude, even though he's a little bit undersized at 250, he has a really good bull rush move. Like, it is insanely impressive. This dude can knock tackles off their track. Like, he can get them unbalanced off his bull rush move. And again, they're scared of his power, and they're not anticipating that bull rush move hitting them in the chest. Now, there is a little bit of some problems with David Bailey's game. And like I said, he's only 250. He's a little bit undersized at that edge position. And he is not the greatest run defender, however. Now, as you can see the film, at times he can just get manhandled when they are running the ball. They can knock him off his track to create bigger holes for the running back to run through. I mean, again, when he gets double teamed, like there is nothing that he can do. And he makes an early presence in his game during the game. Like, he makes his presence known. And once teams start double teaming him, chip and go, tight end, make sure you tap him and stuff like that. Like, he doesn't have like that dominant presence no more. But in one-on-one, oh yeah, he's gonna win 8 times, 9 times out of 10. And in some plays, he does drop into zone coverage. Now, I'm not expecting him to be a hybrid 3-4 linebacker, be the edge, or like drop into zone coverage, drop into a hook, drop into a flat, man up the running back. No, but that is a very that is a good thing to have when you go into the league, because some plays, they're going to require you to drop in the zone, and you have basic zone technique, which I do love about his game. Now, going into the draft, we're in January and the draft is in April. So that's a 3 month difference. Obviously, we have the draft combine, individual workouts, Mel Kiper dropping his favorite prospects, but I wouldn't mind seeing him going to these one or two teams. Number one being the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Micah Parsons Jr., his replacement, the savior is here, woohoo, David Bailey, but the Cowboys do need a star edge rusher, and I wouldn't mind seeing David Bailey there if he falls to the Cowboys. And if he does really good, perfect. And if he doesn't, he'll at worst. I do see David Bailey just being a third down rotational edge rusher. Now, the second team I would love to see him go to, which it would be scary if he goes there, would be the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, you already got Chris Jones, he's getting up there in age. You have George Karlaftis, who is really decent, and you add a young, hungry, first step burst edge rusher, David Bailey there. That makes that D line a lot scarier. And add to the fact that you have Steve Spagnuolo, who runs like kind of a blitz heavy defense, and if he's one-on-one versus the wrong tackle or versus the right tackle, he can use his speed in those blitz packages. I'm telling you, that will be a major problem if he lands with the Chiefs. Now, our second guy, Keldric Faulk from Auburn. This dude is 6'6", 285 pounds. This is also a Madden build in the opposite way of David Bailey. First off, 6'6", 285 edge rusher. Like, that's what you want to build off Madden when you create a player like an edge rusher or any position. Like, that is a freak of nature. And just looking at him, he doesn't really look fat. Like, he looks like he's pretty well built. And yeah, I can see why analysts and experts were saying, yeah, he's gonna go in the top 15. Just looking at his measurement, and I heard he can squat like 700 pounds, like he can lift crazy. But those are really good physicals. How is his game on the field? And honestly, it's a bit inconsistent. That's the word that I can give you when I look at his tape. Now, I got a couple games, of film to show you guys, and one of the things that I've noticed is his lack of that first step, right? It's like they call hike, and like he's a little bit delayed, and that right there, like once the tackle got you beat to the outside, like there's nothing more you can do. So he tries to then go into the inside, and due to lack of spacing and kind of his awareness, like he is dead in his tracks. And if when he gets dead in his tracks, like he just stops play. Like he just stops. He doesn't know what to do. He just stops. And added on top of that, like when he does go to the outside, he doesn't have a whole lot of pass rush moves. Like he doesn't have a clean rip through. He doesn't have a swim. He doesn't have a swipe. His bull rush is a little bit inconsistent. Like he does one move, and if he can't win off that move or off his power, off his 285 frame, all of that muscle, he just stops. However, there are some plays to where you can see the potential in Keldric Faulk. Like there are some plays he does a little swipe, and he can push him off the track or the tackle off his balance. Like there are some plays to where he does use his power to his advantage, bull rushes, and moves him out. Now he's not getting sacks because he only had 2 sacks this past year, but you can see the potential, and I can see it as well. And he is a really good run defender. I'll give him that. And on top of that, with him being 6'6", 285, he can be lined up in the inside. He can be, a 3 tech, or he can move down to the 9 or over to the 9 tech. Like he can be in multiple alignments. Whereas David Bailey, he's kind of only being stuck at that 9 tech, on the outside shoulder of the tackle. And he reminds me somewhat of a draft bust recently, and that is Tyree Wilson. He's like 6'6". He's around the same build as Keldric Faulk, that 6'6", 280 build. Kind of like Carlos Dunlap. He just has pure power. Doesn't have that first step. He doesn't have any pass rush moves. He's just like a Greek god build. Like that's what you want in an NFL player. But due to his lack of experience, pass rush moves in his bag, like he's just not a good edge rusher. Like I hate to say it like that, but I can see the potential. Now, I can see him falling into the second, maybe third round just solely off his production. I don't think teams want to make that same mistake what they did with Shamar Stewart, where he has really good physicals, but he doesn't have a lot of good stats. And Shamar Stewart came out with like 2.5 sacks overall in his college career. And we see in the NFL, there was this crazy stat about Jamar Chase having more tackles than Shamar Stewart. And I think teams are going to learn from, okay, we can't just bank on their physicals like a Jadeveon Clowney. Dude had really good physicals, but when he came to the NFL, it was very underwhelming. And that's no shot at Keldric Faulk. I'm really hoping that he can develop to a really good NFL player. But when we just look at the film, when we look at the tape, when we look at the stats, like me personally, I just don't see what's the big hoorah about him. And I won't give you a specific team on where he would go. I'm just saying, like, I can just see him falling as a project piece, a really high upside project piece in the second or third round. But these are two edge rushers that I kind of want to talk about. I want y'all to give me your thoughts on these dudes. You know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right. I want y'all to let me know down in the comment section. I probably will be doing more players like this, probably near the actual NFL draft when we get a lot closer. But I just love David Bailey, and then I seen Keldric Faulk, so I was like, oh, let me talk about these dudes. But make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and we are out. Peace.